All right, we are on Colin's Conversations. I'll let you introduce yourself, let everybody know who you are, where you're from, and how you got started.
My name is Tre Nash, otherwise known as Tre Nash. I guess you can consider me a rapper. I have one album out right now, Lone. That's what the album's called. It came out in October. It's been doing fairly great. I'm from Texas, DeSoto, Texas, Dallas, Texas, in the Metroplex. How I got started, I've always been around music as a little kid. I remember late nights. I used to ride around with my dad, and we used to just listen to all types of music, and that's how I was exposed to all types of music: country, rock, blues, all of it. I was exposed to everything, and I've always, like I said, I've always been around it. But I've never wanted to become a rapper, or I've never wanted to become a part of it. But I just decided one day to just try it out, and I kind of fell in love with it. Fell in love with making music, fell in love with constructing it, deconstructing it, and everything else that comes with it. And so now here I am.
Absolutely. So you're from Texas. Have you lived in Texas your whole life?
Yes, sir.
And you're what, early 20s?
No,
No?
younger.
Late teens?
Yeah.
Nice. So are you too young to know about all the chopped and screwed scene and everything like that, or is it?
Oh man, I love nostalgia things, and yeah, I know about the chopped and screwed things. That's one of my dad's favorite things.
Absolutely. That was when I was in high school, kind of, even up north. I'm from Cleveland, Ohio. But like we've always had that little like spinal tap to the Southern culture in the Midwest land. Of the Texas rappers that you've known from previous and current, who are your top 3 Texas rappers?
Top 3 Texas rappers. I would have to say Travis Scott has to be up there. Kevin Abstract has to be up there. And then I'll say maybe somebody like Scarface, maybe.
Gotcha. And I saw that your music is doing best in. Let's pull that back up. Oops. Help if I didn't close Spotify. I believe it was in somewhere in California and then New York. You were doing best. What are you doing to get your music out there and getting it to different people that aren't just in the Texas scene?
It's really all about promotion. I post, when I first dropped my album, I posted it everywhere. I posted like trailers for it on YouTube and stuff. I deleted them now, but I posted it everywhere just to like hope that it got it. And I asked everybody to like repost it, and I guess that's how they got a hold of it.
Absolutely. And you kind of mentioned that you never really wanted to be a rapper and get into the scene. What was that driving force that was like, all right, I want to go make my own project. I'm going to take the time to record and do it all?
Okay, what happened was it was this weird thing. I was with my family, and the photographer, he usually takes our pictures every time. And I guess I was freestyling with one of my friends, and I guess I did good, which I don't know how. I can't freestyle at all, but he died, and he was like, I see you're really into this music thing. And I was like, nah, man, I'm not really into it. It's just for fun. I'm just doing it. And he was like, I want you to take it seriously. And I was like, what do you mean? And he was like, whenever I come back to take y'all pictures, whenever I come back to see you or whatever, I want you to tell me the progress you've made and the things you've done to further your music career. And ever since then, I've just had the motivation to just do it.
Is he the same guy that did your album cover? The photo
No,
on that?
I did my album cover.
Did you just Photoshop, or what did you use to make that?
It was a video that my cousin took maybe like a year ago, and I just screenshotted a screenshot of that video, and I went to the Photoshop app and photoshopped it into an album cover.
Absolutely. Tell us a little bit more about Lone. That's the project that came out in October, right?
Sure.
Tell us all about it. It's not really like you've kind of said yourself that you try not to be the same sound as everybody else. How would you describe the sound? How would you describe the project from start to finish?
The project from start to finish, I think every song has its own sound. Like every song, if I was to perform it live, every song would have different lights. And what I mean by that is every song represents a different mood. If you look at the song Stay, you'll get like a Korean, kind of like, not a Korean, but a Hawaiian type mood. If you listen to the song Stop, you'll get like a black feeling, like a very turned up hype feeling and stuff like that. But yeah, the whole album, no song sounds the same to me, but everything just sounds like perfect chaos. If that's a good description. But every song is different, and yeah.
You mentioned 4 or 5 different colors there, and I've heard other musicians kind of say how they see music in colors. Is that something that relates to you as well?
Yeah, definitely. If I hear a song, I can automatically. Every song gives me a type of mood, and every mood gives me a type of color. So yeah, I can see that correlation.
And when you're not making music and not writing stuff, what are you doing to use up your time?
What am I doing to use up my time? I have a clothing brand out under the same title, Lone. The clothing brand actually came out before the album. So yeah, I have a clothing brand now, but most of the time I just spend a lot of my time looking for inspiration. Like I said, I'm very much into music. I'm very much around music. So I usually just listen to music looking for inspiration.
And clothing line is for somebody that's, still in their teens. What made you want to get into fashion and clothing and things like that?
One of my favorite artists ever is Tyler, the Creator. And Tyler has a clothing line, and I absolutely adore everything that he's made. And so I always looked at myself like, man, I want to make my clothing line. I want to have somebody else wear my ideas and things like that. So that gave me the inspiration.
And how are you producing these clothes?
How am I producing these clothes? It's this place called Printify. Obviously, I want to move up more, but for now, it's this website called Printify that's helping me produce these clothes.
Yeah, I've heard of Printify. A lot of merch that I've put out in the past for different businesses and things, I've used a service called Teespring. I don't know if you've heard of them.
Yeah.
But pretty similar. It's kind of both of them. They allow you to set up your own shop and you don't really have to hold merchandise, which is great.
Mm-hmm.
As a clothing brand, what are you trying to do? Are you trying to just do shirts? You're trying to get into shoes? Trying to take over an entire outfit, or what's your goal with the Lone clothing?
Right now, I'm just focusing on hoodies and shirts and things like that. But obviously, I want to branch out to maybe pants and things like that. Definitely shoes, but I don't know if I want to make my own shoes. In the future, I kind of want to collab with somebody, maybe like Converse or something like that, to make it like a collab type shoe.
Gotcha. And shoes, fashion, music. The only thing I haven't heard is you looking to get into movies and film and that type of stuff too?
Yeah, I'm actually, hopefully I'm going to college majoring in theater. I write a lot of things. I've written short films, I've written TV shows, movies. None have came into production, but I hope to make those a production when I get the right materials and things like that.
I haven't seen much of, if any, videos for the songs off Alone. Is that something that's coming soon?
Yeah, it's definitely coming soon. It's for sure coming before my sophomore album.
And what made you decide to go with a full project opposed to just dropping maybe an EP or a couple singles here and there?
I actually had these songs for a long time. They were always on my laptop. And I used to just procrastinate, dropping them. I used to make them, they were fully done. And I used to procrastinate, man, I don't know if people will like this. I don't know if people are going to connect with it. And I was at first going to drop an EP. I actually dropped a single first, but it was just one Thursday night, and I was just reading about all the rappers who were dropping their stuff. And I was just like, man, let me just do it. So I don't know where the inspiration came from, but I just had the inspiration to just do it, and I did it.
And are you uploading everything manually? Are you using a distribution service? How are you going about all that?
I'm using DistroKid.
That's been real popular lately. How do you like that?
It's very good. They always come up with new ideas before other distribution services. They just came up with this idea. I forgot exactly what it's called, but you know how, let's just say you post music on Instagram, and you know how you can do the lyrics to where it scrolls with the song. They just came up with that. They're the first distributing company to do that, actually.
Yeah, I think that's one area that a lot of musicians and artists are kind of just screwing themselves over at, is not taking the time to really put out the lyrics on different services for people to really get, you can listen to it, that's great, but if you could also read along with the lyrics and really know and kind of get that background of story, that's kind of what I really like to do on the podcast, is kind of, if there's a song I like or a song that you're listening to and you're kind of like, you know what, there's something else to it, to have that extra piece, that behind the scenes, there's kind of the extra story, it makes you really like songs a lot more.
Yeah. A lot of people like to deconstruct songs like that. Like me, for instance, whenever I hear a song and I listen heavily on lyrics and production. So when I'm listening to a song, if I really want to dive deep into the lyrics, I go to somewhere like Genius and look at the meaning behind the lyrics, look at all the cohesiveness in the lyrics and things like that.
Who's your favorite lyricist, either locally or nationally?
My favorite lyricist right now has to be Kendrick Lamar.
And what makes Kendrick that standout for you?
Man, Kendrick Lamar, his bars are like out of this world. Like I was listening to Nostalgia, the song he made with Pusha T, and he said something like 9 times out of 10 people don't pay attention, but when it's tension in the air, 9s come with extensions. Like that's crazy. I would never think of that in my wildest dreams. Hopefully I can get to that point, but nah, not right now.
And when you first started out, I mean, it sounds like you've been doing it a little bit, but not a long time. But do you kind of take somebody else's melody or their bars and kind of adapt them to yours, or do you just have this thing going on in your head? How does one of your songs typically come together, if there is a typical process?
One of my songs typically come together. Let's just say I'll listen to a song. Like I said, I listen to a lot of songs for inspiration and things like that. So I would listen to a song for inspiration, and I'll like listen to how they're flowing or what they're writing about, or maybe even to the production. And then I'll begin production, or maybe even writing the song. And sometimes I will use a part of their flow, because obviously it's hard to do something that's never been done before. It's hard to write something that's never been done before. So how I handle that is I just use it as inspiration. So I'll just be listening to a Kevin Abstract song, and I like the way he's flowing on the song. So I'll use that flow to write a song of my own, if that makes sense.
Yeah, absolutely. Kind of, you're not taking it from them. You're just taking the inspiration and running with it. And in hip hop, in rap, there's a big controversy of the people that either write their own stuff or the people that have ghostwriters and whatnot. Is somebody less of a rapper if they have somebody else help them make the song?
I think that's kind of hard, because most of the time I credit people who credit writers. Like let's say Kanye. Kanye has like 6, 7, 8 writers on his songs, but then it's people who put out songs, and they obviously have writers. They obviously have ghostwriters that they don't credit. But I don't think that makes you less of a rapper. I mean, you look at somebody like Cardi B, who doesn't really, write her songs like that, but she's one of the biggest rappers in the world, and she could probably out-rap most, songs. So I think probably even some males, So I don't think that makes you less of a rapper. Obviously, I don't want to call it a crutch, but obviously it helps. But I don't think that makes you less of a rapper.
Gotcha. Yeah, how I fall out, I don't think it makes you less of a rapper. It just kind of takes the rapper title away and puts you kind of more into the entertainer. Where,
Yeah.
like you mentioned, a Kanye, like he's not out here trying to say I write the best bars, but he is trying to say I do the most creative, crazy shit. And I mean, he pretty much comes up with that every time.
Definitely. I mean, yeah, he always says that he's the best artist,
Absolutely. If you could not listen to music for 1 month, what would happen to you?
Man, if I couldn't listen to music for 1 month, I think all my inspiration would be sucked dry. I don't think I can function without music, if that makes sense. Like when I'm riding to school, put in my head music. Even when I'm in school doing my homework, even when I'm in school doing my classwork, put in headphones, listen to music. I listen to music more than I talk to people at this point.
Do you play any instruments, or do you just kind of do the vocal parts?
I don't know how to describe this. I don't know how to get on, like, let's just say I have a keyboard upstairs. I don't know how to just get on the piano and just start playing, but I've learned certain songs and melodies on the keyboard that I can obviously play. I want to start learning guitar and other things like that, but for right now, no, it's just the keyboard.
And are you making all your own beats? Are you getting those off YouTube? Where are the beats for your music coming from?
I mostly make my own beats. Sometimes I'll probably get a sample off YouTube and things like that. But yeah, for the most part, I make my own beats.
And what software are you using to make all your music? Are you just going through GarageBand, or another type of DAW? What are you using?
On my first album, I used I didn't really have a software. So for my beats or whatever, I used this app called Audio Tool. and basically it's kind of like FL Studio, but I think it's really 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 more intricate. And so once I made the beat, the ground for it, I take it over to this website called BandLab. That's where I add the samples and the sounds and things like that.
And that kind of sounds like a nice segue to what I always try to work in. Is part of this is talking about everybody, part of it's marketing, but another thing I do is a lot of technology stuff. As somebody that's musical and technical savvy, what are the top 3 websites that you use throughout your day to keep you moving?
To keep me motivated?
To keep you moving, whether it's to get stuff done or make stuff. Top 3 websites.
YouTube, because you can get, like I said, a lot of inspiration off YouTube. You can find sounds, you can find drum patterns and things like that off YouTube. I think Audio Tool, because it's really intricate. You can slow songs down, speed songs up, slow certain parts down in the song, and speed certain parts up. And I would, once again, I'll say BandLab, because it's really easy to add a sample. It's really easy to just hook a keyboard up and play certain sounds. So I would say YouTube, Audio, and BandLab.
The last one, B-A-N-D Lab.
Hmm?
Gotcha. I hadn't heard of that one. I always like to look them up for the few things I haven't heard of. And those are websites, but what about the top 3 apps? Are they kind of the mirror of the websites, or what 3 apps are you using most?
Top 3 apps, I'm using GarageBand. GarageBand is really easy. It's this software called Ableton, I think Ableton. And sometimes I'll use FL Studio. I don't have it, but some of my friends have it, and I just play around on their things and stuff.
Gotcha. And are you, from what I could tell, you're not very active on social media. Is social media not a big thing to you, or kind of just haven't had time for it lately?
Man, social media it's not that big of a deal to me. Because some people, they wrap their lives around social media. Some people, if they post a picture and they don't get a certain amount of likes or a certain amount of comments, it just destroys their day. And also, for someone like me who gets like a lot of criticism off of social media can make or break me, because I can wake up and get my ego stroked. I can wake up and somebody could be like, oh yeah, that song really was fire. But then I could wake up and somebody says, okay, that song's trash. So I could either get my ego stroked or ego destroyed in like at one millisecond. So, okay, my bad. But I can either get my ego stroked or ego destroyed in 1 millisecond. So I try to stay off of it for the most part.
And do you think that has any hindrance on your promotion of music, or do you find other ways to promote?
I definitely find other ways to promote. But Instagram, social media, that they are my, if I am dropping something like a music video or a short film or something like that, I immediately go to social media and post it, make sure people go check it out. But I don't stay on social media like that.
Gotcha. And you mentioned that the online criticism could either give you the real big highs or the real big lows. Do you have any tips for people on dealing with online criticism?
Man, I always focus on this. Do what makes you happy. Obviously, you have to look at what people are listening to and things like that to really get into the mainstream music section at this point in music. But do what makes you happy, man. If people are criticizing what you're doing, do what makes you happy. If you want to put those certain sounds in your song, if you want to rap that certain way, or you want to flow on your song that certain way, do what makes you happy. Because eventually, the money's going to come, because that's what people really worry about when they get criticism. Like, oh, is this going to affect the success of my song? Is this going to affect, the production and stuff like that? The money's going to come. I'll try to tell a lot of people, like, money shouldn't be the reason as to why you make music. Money shouldn't be the reason as to why you do a lot of things. It should be the love for it and the passion for it and things like that. Because if you have the love and the passion, let's just say for me, I have the love and the passion for making music, which means I'm going to continue to get better and better. And as I get better and better, there's more opportunities for money and stuff like that. So money shouldn't be the sole reason as to why you're doing what you're doing.
Absolutely. I think you hit on a really good point there. The people that do make money in music, it's because you didn't see the 20 years that they've been losing money, and all of a sudden everything's kind of coming together, where a lot of people nowadays, they see somebody get 100,000 streams or however many streams on a song, and they're like, oh, I could do that, but they don't really factor in the amount of money that people are putting in for promotion or going to a studio and paying an engineer to mix their stuff and master it to make sure that it sounds good. And I mean, it's crazy when I look at, because I do a little bit of representing a few artists, and what they make and what you guys make for one stream on a song is ridiculous, like 0.00003 of a penny. Like, that shit is crazy. How that's even a fraction real number is insane.
Exactly. Yes, but I've learned that Tidal is actually where people make the most money, because Tidal per stream gives you way more than Spotify or anything else like that.
Yeah, your only limit there is that there's so many more people on a Apple Music or a Spotify. Like, not that many people have Tidal, where Tidal I think is kind of just that specialty market where people that are on there care more about paying for the music and things like that. They're more worried about the quality of the sounds.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, that was my mom.
Hi, Mom.
Mommy said hi.
Hi. And the same day that you responded to the podcast request, I also had another person. She just did her interview the other day, Autumn Falls_singer. What about the younger generation? Are you guys listening to more podcasts? Are you just liking the stuff that comes from the video version of podcasts? What's podcast like for the youth in Texas?
Nah, podcasting, I actually had a podcast for one of my friends. I don't have it anymore, but podcasts are really informational. Like, podcasts can help you learn a lot of things. A lot of people don't listen to podcasts, which I think should start doing.
Yeah, I think I saw there's like, I forget the number, an insane amount of podcasts nowadays just because of how easy it is to start. But another one, like we were saying, how with the Spotify, with how little there is in revenue there, I think it was like 90% of podcasts don't make it past 8 episodes, which is crazy. People are just, they get frustrated that it's hard to get views and hard to get things. What makes for a good podcast for you to listen to?
Obviously it has to be entertaining. That's one thing. If you were doing the same thing every episode, that's not going to be entertaining to me at all. Another thing is it has to be informational. Nowadays, everything that I do, I'm either practicing something that I already know, or I'm trying to learn something. And so if you have a podcast and you aren't really teaching me anything, if you aren't really teaching me new tips and tricks on how to do things better, or it could be something simple as just teaching me how you do what you do. If you aren't doing that, then it's not going to be entertaining to me. It's not going to be. I'm not going to be able to. It's not going to be good for me to watch, because I feel like I'm wasting my time.
I'm glad you said that, because that pretty much hits dead on what Colin's conversation is trying to do. Kind of, I picked having entertainers, educators, and entrepreneurs kind of as the main 3 type of people, because if you're entertaining, then people want to watch you. If you're educating, people want to watch you. And if you're actually doing things and taking your passions into making money, people want to learn about that too. So like you said, every episode of mine is kind of the same format, more or less, but depending on the guest, like if you're in Texas, we get to talk about things in Texas. If you do music, we get to talk about music instead of business or whatever, which kind of makes it like the goal is in like 10 years to hit that Joe Rogan level of just like everybody that's interesting comes through my doors and we have a quick 2-hour conversation. I get to learn, audience gets to learn, and if I could make Joe Rogan money, that's even better. But that's like you said, that's secondary.
I think Joe Rogan it's certain people in certain industries that people should look up to. Like you said, if you're doing podcasts, Joe Rogan should be the person that you're looking up to, because he has everybody on his podcast. No matter what they're doing, he'll have, let's just say, the world's top comedian on his podcast. I think he's had Dave Chappelle on his podcast, but he can have the world's top comedian, then he'll turn around and have like Neil deGrasse Tyson on his podcast. It's crazy, but yeah, I think that's what everybody should try to be, or that's probably the level that everybody should try to be at when it comes to podcasts.
Absolutely. When this episode comes out, it'll be sometime in January. But what are some of your top goals or resolutions for 2020?
Top goals or resolutions. I think one of my top goals is definitely to drop my sophomore album, and to expand on that, have it be bigger and better than my first album. To make another season of the clothing brand, because a lot of the same clothes and things have been on the clothing brand. Um, I like setting really big goals for myself. I really want to start a TV show, and no matter if I have to post it on YouTube in order to bring following to it and stuff like that, I really want to start a TV show with a lot of my friends. My life is, I don't have the average life. My life is pretty. So I feel like if I can make a TV show out of it, if I can document my life like that, I feel like it'll be pretty interesting. So yeah, those are three of my top 3 goals in 2020.
Have you started doing any vlogging or anything like that?
No, I actually talked to a bunch of my friends about that actually yesterday. We talked about, we were all like, man, our lives are interesting. If we were to vlog, that would be really, really interesting, and we can make probably tons of money from it too. But yeah, if we could just vlog and get our life out there and just have fun doing it, that'll be really exciting.
Absolutely. One thing that I noticed that's definitely missing from, I mean, you're definitely one of the more ambitious younger dudes I've talked to recently, but what's stopping you from having a website to kind of be the center home to have a place to sell the clothing, show off the music, show off the new projects all in one?
Man, I feel like I haven't really searched into it like I should be, but I feel like I just need to research more, you know. I need to figure out how to get that website, how to, you know, fund it and things like that.
They're definitely much more obtainable than people think, and it's certainly one of the things that you want to do sooner than later. I mean, you don't want to have 8 projects out, then you got to backload all this information, or the way that I look at website is Instagram and things like that. A lot of people can't control algorithms. Obviously, your views might not be where they were, but you could still push people to a website, which then you could have ads on, and you could have just the center of everything and kind of make it a lot easier for people to buy your clothes or get your music or any of the other things like that. As far as getting one, you need a domain. It's like $15 a year. You need hosting, $10 to $12 a month. And you seem like you're pretty apt in learning new online things. You can figure out how to build a WordPress site in a day. You know, it's not a hard thing. But definitely something I'd recommend you do sooner than later, especially if you're going to keep trying to get on podcasts and things like that. Or for fans, it's just a lot easier. You can just go to trenash.com. It's available, by the way. I checked before we went on with this. But you should buy that up. Just secure your name. So that way when you're building your name, building your brand, you have that. Last couple things that I want to work into is back to your album. If somebody was only going to listen to one song, they only had time for one song, what song would make somebody an instant fan of Tre Nash?
I think the song "Stop" would actually make somebody a good fan of me. Because I think that's the most, I don't want to say it's the most accepted song, but that's the song that I've heard the most praise from. And that's also the song, if I was to perform, if I had one song to perform and somebody was to just bring me up to perform, that's also the song that I would perform, because it has everything in it. It has good production, has good flows, has good lyrics, it's hype and things like that. So I think that would be the one song.
Have you done any performing of your own music yet?
No, not yet.
Have you been out kind of trying to network and find people that are having shows just to be an opener, or get some way to get yourself on that stage?
Not yet. Lately, like I said, I've been working on my sophomore album, so lately I haven't really found time to do that, but I've definitely started though.
Gotcha. And how I end every interview, it's what I call the digital soapbox. You get up to 1 minute to look dead in the camera, and you get to end the interview on whichever notes you want. Whether you want to go inspirational, motivational, sales pitch, whatever you want to do, it's your way to kind of end the interview on your own tone.
Okay. Well, how I want to end the interview is, I just want to get a lot of people understand that you can do what you want. You don't have to be a follower. You don't have to like this type of music just because some of your friends like it. You don't have to like these type of clothes just because some of your friends like it. Do what you want to do. If you like that music, like it. It doesn't care. It doesn't matter who doesn't like it and stuff like that. Be yourself. And a lot of people say like, well, I want to do this, but I don't know how to do it. Or I want to do this, but I don't know if I can do it. Just do it. It's not that hard. We live in 2020 where you can do anything. It's people who sit in front of a camera on YouTube and just make money making certain sounds in a microphone. Because that's what art is. So I just feel like if you can make money doing that, if you can do that and live a healthy lifestyle and things like that, you can do anything.
Absolutely. And let everybody know where can they find you online.
You can find me on Instagram at I am Tre Nash, and you can find me on Spotify and any other streaming service at Tre Nash.